How did week 5 impact our perspective of the AFC? We're delivering our updated AFC Power Rankings today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Krabs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'd like to thank you for making Locked On NFL Scouting your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Joe, happy Tuesday. Happy 3 weeks till the end of October day to you.
3 weeks to the end of October. Are you looking forward to November, Kyle? It's the best month of the year, which I would understand why you would.
In what context? Thanksgiving or?
Yeah, Thanksgiving's the best holiday. Decorating for Christmas is really, really fun. To me, at least. I like sweatshirts and joggers, so I get to do that.
It's just starting to become that season here.
Yeah, it's barely that here, and you can notice the last 2 days I wore hoodies, and it's like that contrast of 70s during the day, but like 40s at night. So I'm really embracing the 40s at night.
It needs to tick another 10 degrees down to be the best, and that's like end of October, beginning of November, right?
We are getting there, sir.
Like high is 64 and breezy.
Yeah,
that's
a little nippy in the air, you know.
Yeah, that's when the football changes too, right?
Well, yeah, it does change, but I'll tell you this: my dogs are not a fan of the cold, man. They're not like interested in going outside when it's cold, so it's this absolute struggle to get them to go out in the backyard when it's a little below their threshold
tolerance
comfort
level.
Yeah.
Well,
very
let's
bougie dogs.
Let's keep ourselves on track here.
Yeah, talk about the AFC Power Rankings. We haven't done this in 2 weeks.
This was week 4.
Yeah,
we didn't do it last week.
Into week 4, yeah.
Into week 4. We're now into week 6. And the last time we were here, the top 5 teams that Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino respectively had. Kyle had the Chiefs, Bills, Dolphins, Ravens, and Jags. And Joe had the Dolphins, Chiefs, Bills, Browns, and Ravens as their top 5s.
Ooh.
So with that in mind, let's take the walk. You want to just reveal 1 through 5s and then we'll talk about them? You want to dramatic?
So here's what was easy for me. 1 and 2 were easy for me. 3 and 4 were tough, and 5 was impossible.
I thought 1 through 3 was easy for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I wrestled with 3 and 4. I wrestled hard.
Okay. Is your number 1 team the Kansas City Chiefs?
No.
Okay. Go ahead.
My number 1 team's the Dolphins. Miami Dolphins.
They lost by 4 touchdowns in week 4, Joe.
I know.
To a team who's also going to be in this top 3 conversation, you can't possibly put them in number 1.
Yeah, circumstances though, man. They got missing some key players in their secondary, missing their center. I don't know, man. Who's the team nobody wants to play? The Dolphins. Nobody wants to play them. Nobody. You'd rather play the Chiefs. You'd rather play the Bills. You'd rather play the Jaguars. You don't want to play. There's 2 teams you don't want to play. It's the Niners and the Dolphins.
I have the Chiefs, Bills, Dolphins top 3.
Oh, I don't have that at all. I have it very different.
I'm sure you do.
I have a Dolphins, Chiefs, Jaguars. I had to put the Jaguars at 3. I had to do it.
Well, and that's from my perspective. I had to put the Bills above the Dolphins because I watched them beat them by 4 touchdowns.
I knew this was going to be a fun conversation. We'd have our reasons, right? Like nobody's wrong. It's our own personal opinions. So if you're wrong, then you just disagree with someone's opinion. But
and that's okay. We don't have to get mad at each other, right?
No.
So you have Dolphins, Chiefs, Jaguars top 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So you did the thing with Buffalo and Jacksonville that I did with Miami and Buffalo.
Yeah. So
it's like you had to put the team that beat the other team head to head.
All right, we got to pick a lane here. We got to pick somewhere to go because we're so far all over the place. I guess let me just explain why I have it the way that I have it. You can explain the way that you have it. All right, I have the Dolphins at number 1. I think they have the best offense in football, obviously, and that matters the most. I think defensively, they have work to do, but I think there's reasons for their issues on defense, adjusting to Fangio not having some key players in their secondary, not having their best pass rusher, right? There's some dynamics there. But for them to be able to win a football game the way that they did, despite being -3 in turnovers, is a big, big deal to me. And your loss is the most quality loss of any team here.
28-point loss is
you lost it before. It was a 28-point loss because of the way the game script went.
It's not a.
That's why.
They couldn't stop Buffalo. Buffalo could have pulled their pants down and walked backwards down the field and scored touchdowns.
If they played this week, I think the Dolphins would win by 4 touchdowns.
Oh, of course you feel that way because Daquan Jones, Trey White, and Matt Milano are
well, it's just the exact same scenario Miami was in. I don't know, man. Put some respect on the Miami Dolphins, Kyle. Damn it, man. The best team in the AFC. Then I have the Chiefs number 2. And here's the thing about the Chiefs. I don't think they're playing great football, but they're finding a way, right? They're winning. And that's why they're ahead of the Bills for me. Because the Bills 5 times have played a football game, and 2 times they had some circumstances that didn't go in their favor, and they couldn't get through it, right? The Chiefs have found a way to do that. I had to put Jacksonville ahead of Buffalo, and it pained me because I think the Bills are a better team than Jacksonville. But the problem is they beat them head-to-head, and I give them a lot of credit for that. And I feel like they're starting to get in their groove, but the head-to-head win, I had to put it over Buffalo. I just had to. I know that they had a bad loss to Houston. They lost to Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. The Bills lost to the Jets, dude, with Zach Wilson at quarterback. And then they lost to Jacksonville. I think the circumstances of that game were pretty unfortunate for Buffalo, but fresh off of a head-to-head loss, I had to do it. Now, if this is going to play out, and we'll see. But for right now, I had to put Jacksonville ahead of Buffalo.
And in a vacuum, I think Miami probably would have been 2 for me, but I had to apply the same thought process that you applied with Jacksonville, Buffalo. I had to be intellectually honest with myself, I had to apply it with those 2 AFC East teams. And I think Jacksonville was the no-brainer team to go at 4. I said I thought the top 3 were easy for me because it was the same top 3 that I had when we did it in week 4. I had Kansas City, Buffalo, Miami. And my joke at the time was, I'm not going to tempt the football gods and do anything crazy. And what's happened since then? The Chiefs, who I had at 1 in week 4, have not lost. And the Bills and Dolphins have. And the Dolphins lost to the Bills. So the top 3 had to stay the same.
I understand your logic. I do. But I didn't have it that way. What was my 3? What did I have?
You had Miami, Kansas City, Buffalo.
So you could see when it starts, the difference here is the starting point.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. And then from there, how we took the new information and applied it. And I think it makes sense for both of us.
Who do you have 5?
I hate to say it. It's Pittsburgh, Kyle.
Joe.
They beat the next teams on the list. They beat the next teams. They beat Cleveland. They beat Baltimore. Who are you going to put in there? Chargers? I'd respect it. But, I mean, they still had some crap. They had a crap loss, man.
Cleveland.
I've been messing with Cleveland all year long, man.
So if we were going to keep the same energy that we did with the teams we just discussed, you applied the same logic in putting Pittsburgh in front because Pittsburgh beat Cleveland
and Baltimore.
But I also watched Pittsburgh win because they scored 2 defensive touchdowns and had -7 yards in the fourth quarter and a come-from-behind fourth quarter win.
Found a way, man.
It's not sustainable. I'm not giving them too much credit.
I agree. I agree with you. And I knew this conversation was going to happen. But I think, and I hate to do the college football thing, I think right now they're the most deserving. Do I think they're the 5th best team in the AFC? I don't. But right now they're the most deserving of being in the 5th spot.
The college football playoff committee conversation every week until you do the final one.
No, I just need a little bit more sample size. A little bit more.
That's fine. So that leaves us with Joe having Miami, Kansas City, Jacksonville, Buffalo, Pittsburgh. Top 4.
Yeah, 5. Top 5.
And top 5. And Kyle having Kansas City, Buffalo, Miami, Jacksonville, Cleveland. Top 5.
All right. We got more to get to, more to sort through. But maybe you want to go see some of these games this year in person. You shouldn't have to worry about buying tickets for those games or any next big event. Good luck, or good for you, is that the Gametime app is here for you. It is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. They have killer deals on last-minute tickets, all-in prices. I love that. So the price that you see is the price that you pay. There's views from your seat, so you can see images of what it's going to look like when you get to the venue. A best price guarantee. Gametime simply takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. The app is awesome, super easy to navigate. They have flash deals, and they also do this thing where they send you the tickets right to your phone, so you don't have to dig through emails to find them. Super, super easy. So snag the tickets without the stress with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
So now we have the next 5, teams 6 through 10 in the AFC. Reminder that there are 7 playoff spots that would be available in a hypothetical. Joe, you have the 4 divisions all represented in your top 5. And I also have the 4 divisions all represented in my top 5. So the next 2 teams would technically be who we would favor to be the final 2 wildcard teams. As things currently stand, 1/3 of the way through the season. I'm going to make you mad, probably. I have the Chargers at 6.
I have Chargers at 6.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Does it upset you to have the Chargers in front of the Steelers?
Nothing would upset me about your opinion, Kyle Krabs.
Thank you. Okay. I have the Steelers at 7.
I have the Browns at 7.
Browns.
Here's the problem with the Browns. They got
I know
blown out by
a lot of
Baltimore,
problems with the
and they
Browns.
lost to Pittsburgh. Congrats on beating Cincinnati in week 1 when they didn't have a pulse, and you beat Tennessee.
But the defense has statistically been very impressive.
Yeah, they have. We're going to find out. They got San Francisco next.
We are going to find out. And Joe Marino told me the 49ers would score more than 30 points in this game.
I did. Which how much the Browns have given up 3 points, so 9 plus 22, whatever that is. That's how many points they've given up. 31.
31 points.
Yep, they're about to give up their season total against San Francisco.
Double it up.
Yeah.
I have the Ravens at 8.
Same.
Okay.
So there's our common ground. Is that our? Well, we have the Chargers and the Ravens in the same slot.
Yes, we have Chargers and Ravens in the same spot, and that's it so far. I have the Bengals at 9.
Oh man, I'm not gonna lie. I had the Bengals originally at 9, and then I thought to myself, no, I'm considering the entire body of work. Mm-hmm. Congratulations on spanking the Cardinals. I've seen everything though.
They beat the Rams too.
Yeah, but come on, man. The rest of this has been so bad, and it's not just Burrow.
It has been.
So I didn't do it. I put Cincinnati's going to be a minute before we get there.
Okay, who do you have at 9?
Colts.
The Colts. I have the Colts at 10.
Texans at 10.
Texans at 10. Okay.
Where do you have Houston?
11.
Okay.
Now hold on. We're only supposed to do 6 through 10 now.
All right, but I mean, it was interesting because I had a team revealed here that you didn't have, and I was kind of curious how much further down I had to get to them.
They just missed.
So you had the Bengals in this cluster, and I didn't. That's the big difference.
Correct.
And I leaned into the Texans.
So even our top 7 teams are all the same, too. And then 8 through probably, I would guess 12. Not sure who you have. You probably, or 8 through 11 is the next tier for me. And Cincinnati just happened to make the cut, and they didn't for you.
Yeah, well, let me tell you why I put Houston over Cincy. It's down to quality of wins. They beat Jacksonville and Pittsburgh, who are 2 teams that I have in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And Cincinnati beat the
Rams
Cardinals and the Rams. Yeah, I just feel like the quality of win here is better. And, I mean, the Bengals, I know that the Texans, they lost by multiple scores their first 2 games, which is somewhat to be expected. But, I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals have been getting blown out a few times this year. So, better wins and better losses, in my opinion.
I think that's fair if you go off the resume. I still just look at the team, and I have a hard time seeing that it stays that way.
I get it. I felt like Joe Burrow, there was a scramble that he had in the game where like
when he got sacked, but he still scrambled around a ton.
Yeah, like you're like, okay, he can move a little bit. You
Yeah.
kind of felt good, right? And then he's like, okay, Jamar Chase, he's catching the ball. Like they're giving Mixon carries and he's not getting that many yards, but it's still part of what they do. You know, it kind of felt like the Bengals a little bit. Some plays on defense. Cam Taylor-Britt making some plays. Yeah, I mean, it felt like it felt like it might have been the get right game for Cincinnati. And if it is, they're going to skyrocket up for me. But I still have to keep in mind the entire deal here.
Let's talk about the Ravens.
Yep.
Came in at 8 for both of us. Feels like they lose a couple of these games every year, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's the concern. And I know there's even been some sentiment on my timeline of same old Harbaugh. It's just kind of frustration with the perceived plateau of Baltimore, which I think it's very early in the season to do that. But the number one question we had coming into the year with Baltimore was what?
The new offense, right?
The new offense with the skill guys.
Yeah.
It ain't happening with Odell. Rashad Bateman's hurt again. So I remember we did the roster eval and we're like, all these guys are pink. Like as an incomplete evaluation, like we don't know what they are.
They're 26 in passing right now, the Ravens. 26th.
Right. Well, and pro or optimistic Ravens fans right now would point to all of the drops that the receivers had in the game against Pittsburgh. And I understand it.
Yeah. Get it.
But
got to execute. You got to make plays, man.
That's it, right? So, like,
you dropped the ball.
You left a lot of points on the field, and you left a lot of yards on the field. But I promise you're not 26th in passing because you dropped 7 passes against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I can actually pull up that data. Did you want
how
to know
many drops?
How many yards lost to drops?
Let's do that.
So you gotta do the filibustering thing here, but
okay. So I'm gonna run down each one of our top 10s just to give everybody a recap of where we are thus far in the AFC conference. My AFC Power Rankings for Week 6: the Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, Jacksonville Jaguars, Cleveland Browns, LA Chargers, Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, Indianapolis Colts. Joe's is the Miami Dolphins, Kansas City Chiefs, Jacksonville Jaguars, Buffalo Bills, Pittsburgh Steelers, LA Chargers, Cleveland Browns, Baltimore Ravens, Indianapolis Colts, Houston Texans.
I got the data. Courtesy of our friends over at Fantasy Points. Great data suite you got to check out. Super good, especially when you figure out all the sortable stuff. There's a lot to it.
Right.
The Baltimore Ravens fans right now are saying, you know what, Joe and Kyle? The drops do matter. Lamar Jackson, the most yards this season, lost to drops at 147 yards. The next player on the list is Matthew Stafford at 137. Then it's Josh Dobbs at 94. Wow. And then you don't have another player more than 72. CJ Stroud, 72.
So Lamar has more than 2 times the lost dropped yardage than like the number 4 quarterback in the league.
Yeah. Yeah. It's real. It's a real thing for sure. Now make the plays, make the plays. That happens, but I think that's a fair point. And you don't assume that he gets all 147 of them. But even if he gets half, if he has half of this, which is dangerous for us to do math, let's call it 75 yards. He's still in the top 5 for most amount of yards lost due to drops, even if you only have half of it. Any players you're interested in that? How about look at the bottom of this list? This is incredible.
Who's the most fortunate from
Kenny Pickett? Kenny Pickett, -4 yards lost to drops. So that means somebody behind the line of scrimmage dropped the pass, and that's it for the year. Brock Purdy's only lost 2 yards to drops.
That checks out.
Geno Smith's only lost 4 yards to drop. Tua's only 15. So good on the Dolphins there catching the ball. Sam Howell, 16. Ritter, 17. Bryce Young, 25. Josh Allen, 26. I thought Steph Diggs lost 50 yards on. We're not calling that a drop. You got out-muscled for the ball from Demarius Williams.
Got to ask Brett.
No, I'll talk to Brett about that. I'm putting that as a drop.
How you tagging these plays, man?
No, I kind of get it, but I want to see him make the play. But yeah, all right. So there you go. They have a
shout out
point.
to the Colts. Shout out to the Colts, right? Here's
Yeah.
actually a fun thing to do. Joe, you had the Colts rank where?
9.
And you had the Texans rank where?
10.
Those were your 15th and 16th ranked teams when we started the season.
Wow. Yeah. Got to play the games, you know? Got to play
Got to
them.
play the games.
We
I
love
had the
speculation
Texans,
season.
I had the Texans 14 and 15. Texans Colts.
They climbed to the top 10 for me and top 11 for you.
Yes, that's right.
Got to play them all. See what happens.
Kudos to them for outperforming expectations. Now, there's a team each one of us had in the top 5 that's not been acknowledged yet. I think we probably get to them next here on the show.
We will. But first, snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app, super easy to use. They have so many different things that you can bet on, including spreads, player props, which I love, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockdown and kick off this NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
All right. So we have the bottom 6. And I've already revealed the Texans to be in this spot for me at 11.
This is where I have Cincinnati.
Okay. So we have the same 11.
Yeah. And I kind of gave my thought process there because it's between it to me, it's Houston or Cincy. And I think Cincinnati obviously has a lot of room to go up, but it came down to the quality of wins and the quality of losses.
How the turntables have turned from the last time that we did power rankings. Because since that point, the New England Patriots have scored 3 points.
Yeah.
My silly rear end had them 8th and going into week 4.
Where'd I am?
10th. I don't have them at 12.
Me neither.
Not even close. I got the Jets at 12.
I got the Jets at 12.
Team that can run the ball. Now, Elijah Vera-Tucker going down for them is a huge blow.
Yeah, man. That's 3 years in a row. He's had something big, right?
Oh, and I was texting Chris Schubert yesterday. Same stadium as the injury that he injured his season-ending injury last year.
Where was it? Denver?
Denver.
Really? And isn't that a grass surface?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it is. That's like the big to-do, right? Is grass over artificial. Congrats on being a team that has a home surface that is grass.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, you know what's really splendid is when the Miami Hurricanes play a slot fest on it the night before.
We see that
Now,
all the time, right?
Credit to I think it was Cam Wolf was like, the Dolphins bought like a sod farm so that
they just keep wheeling it in.
Yes. So if they need to resod a field after like that Canes game last night on Saturday when Mario Cristobal just completely lost his mind. You saw that?
There's no words, Kyle. There's no words.
No, it's not even the first time it's happened.
This is awful.
Do you remember that was like the Justin Herbert perfect game?
Mm-hmm.
When he was like 22-23 or whatever it was. They lost the game because they ran the ball when they could have kneeled it out.
Can't have it. Can't have it.
That game was like a late game, and they still like the.
Who are you? Who deserves to like have more shade cast on them? Cristobal or Marcus Freeman for the Notre Dame blunder? It's Cristobal. It's Cristobal.
It's Cristobal because you had possession. They had no timeouts.
Right. The game was won.
All you had to do was not run a play.
Or as Kyle Crabb would say, the game was won. They won the game.
They won the game. They won the game. From a Jets perspective, did we see anything on like they had a bunch of defensive guys get banged up a little bit too, right? Like Sauce got banged up.
Yeah, he got banged up.
I just had not seen any updates on that one.
No, I haven't either, honestly. Now that you say that. How about Bryce Huff, man, for that defense is playing good. Quincy Williams is playing good. Jermaine Johnson's waking up.
Got some heat-seeking missiles on that defense.
Yeah, they're good. They're good at that.
How about 13?
Titans.
Las Vegas Raiders.
Giving them some love, huh? Big
Give
win
them
last
love.
night.
Big win last night. Yeah, 3 picks of Jordan Love.
Concerned there, brother. Concerned.
Half the amount of interceptions they had all year, the previous year for the Raiders
6.
defense.
Yeah, I think they had
For
one
game.
going into the game, right?
Yeah.
With Trayvon Merrick last week.
Yeah.
4 picks in the last 2 games.
Ball Hawks.
Can't, man.
This is just the stratosphere where there's the silver linings are tough.
So, but okay, do the thing here. You have Tennessee above, or excuse me, you have the Raiders above Tennessee. So let's talk about that.
Well, I think you think about Las Vegas and them getting the win that they did just last night. I think even though you didn't see Aaron Jones play and Green Bay's obviously banged up on the trenches, they've now won 2 games. They beat Denver, who's a team in this stratosphere as well. So I think their most recent win being their quality win and their defense showing a little bit of life, holding Green Bay to 285 yards of offense was enough for me to give them an edge here, because I think the last couple of weeks they've had the best individual feather in their cap.
Okay. For me, the reason I have Tennessee above the Raiders is quality of win. They beat the Chargers and the Bengals. I think those are 2 pretty good wins. Yeah, they lost to the Saints. They lost to the Browns. They lost to the Colts. I get it. Like, that's the variance that you get. But a couple of teams with the same record, I gave the team that had better wins, who I think actually is a more talented team, I gave it to Tennessee.
That's fair. And I have the Titans right behind the Raiders at 14.
The bottom 2 is easy.
Yes.
But which one do you have 15? Which one do you have 16?
I have the Patriots at 15.
Oh, I have them at 16, Kyle.
You do. You have them as the worst team.
Correct.
You've seen the stats on this Denver defense?
Have you seen the stats on this New England offense?
Yeah. Yeah, I have. Bill O'Brien's going to fix everything now.
No, I want a lot of credit for calling that as crap earlier in the season or in the offseason.
New England, 32nd in points, 26th in yards.
So they scored the least amount of points.
11,
55 points, Kyle, in 4 games. 5 games.
Per game. 3.3 yards per carry. That's 29th in the NFL. 5.2 net yards per attempt. That's 26th in the NFL. They have 82 first downs through 5 games. That's 29th in the NFL. They have 10 turnovers offensively, and that's 28th in the NFL. Defensively, they forced 2 turnovers. That's dead last in the NFL.
They haven't forced one in 3 weeks. Against the Jets, Cowboys, and Saints.
They are 28th in the NFL in third down percentage at 32%. They're 2 of 10 on fourth down in the NFL. That's 20%. That's 31st in the NFL.
They stink.
Bill's going back to the drawing board, he said.
At least Denver can score a little bit. And Russell Wilson's playing better than last year. These teams need to play. When does it happen? Oh, yes.
Oh, they do play. Yeah.
Week 16.
That could be the Caleb Bowl.
Keep Caleb away from the Patriots. They don't deserve him.
Yeah, they deserve QB4 again.
Drake May, Kyle. That's the guy for the
They
Patriots.
can have Drake May. I know there's a lot of people that really like Drake May, but
perfect for them. Are the Patriots on Caleb Williams' list of teams to play for? That's what we need to know.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question.
As I know I'm frozen here on the YouTube.
I can still hear you though.
Yeah, I figured that.
That's all that matters.
Right.
So who wins between the Raiders and Patriots this week with the Raiders at home?
I like the Raiders at home, Kyle. Don't you?
I trust them to score more points.
Right.
So what is Bill's? Did you see the whole exchange Bill had about going back to the drawing board?
No.
They said, have you ever done that before? 5 weeks into a season? Yeah. What does that entail for context when you have to go back to the drawing board? Well, go back to the drawing board. That's the direct quote. It's okay, Bill.
Is the stick doesn't work, without the success, right?
It's bad. And
Writing's been on the wall, man.
They're not. Yeah, I'm the credit that you'll get for the Bill O'Brien stuff. I want if Bill's out, because I've been saying that they're going to Don Shula this man and escort him, dismiss him if things fell off the rails this year.
So is that what happened with Don? I know that the last game was the playoff loss, right? When it was that, yes, it was like, hey, buddy, thanks for everything. You're out of here.
Yeah. So Don retired.
Okay. One of those.
But it was like wink, wink, nuts. They pretty much told Don, you can retire or we're going to fire you, because they wanted to bring in Jimmy Johnson.
Okay. But there's such a difference here. And if you give me a second, I will get into that difference. Don Shula's last 2 years in Miami, they went to the playoffs. They were the number one seed his second to last year.
Yep. They should have won too.
New England is going to, if this is Bill's last year, they're going to have like 3 consecutive years in a row with no playoffs. There's a difference between getting shoved out while you're still a competitive team with a winning record every year versus a team that is not making the playoffs when there's 7 seeds available.
I think here's the difference, right? I think the difference is they were perceiving that Don was wasting the twilight of Dan's career, where Bill doesn't have that layer because they won 6 Super Bowls with Tom.
So do we think Jimmy Johnson maximized the twilight of Dan Marino's career? They went to the playoffs all 3 years.
That was the concern about continuing to roll with Don past 95 when Dan Marino is getting a little long in the tooth.
You know what's funny about that? If I'm not mistaken here, as I look at this 97, 98, 99, who was the good team? Were the Patriots a good team in the AFC East with Drew Bledsoe? I think that's what it was. Because the Dolphins were second in the division. It wasn't the Bills. It had to be the Patriots, but with Bledsoe. Because they went to Super Bowl, played the Packers and all that, right? I mean, that's the thing that happened.
Didn't they have the Pete Carroll year in there too?
Yeah, like super strange.
So Pete Carroll, they went to the Super Bowl in 96, 11-5. Then they went 10-6 and lost in the division round. The 95 team or the 96 team was with Bill Parcells, and then they went Pete Carroll, and they went 10-6, 9-7, and 8-8 in 99. And then Carroll was out, and that's when they hired Belichick.
So what divisions did they win there? Like
they won the East twice.
In 97 and 98?
96 and 97.
So weird.
So did the Jets win in 98? Yeah, the Jets went 12-4 with Bill Parcells in 1998.
Bill Parcells just flopping around.
Right, going from one AFC East team to the next.
What if that guy just stayed somewhere? Wouldn't that be kind of like an interesting story if Bill Parcells? No,
he's like that's why I came to Miami to be the football czar. Just build an organization. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for us. AFC Power Rankings for Week 6. I'm Kyle Krabs. He's Joe Marino. We are Locked On NFL Scouting. Appreciate you guys checking out the show. Find us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Make it a great rest of your day. We're back again tomorrow for NFC Power Rankings going into Week 6 of the 2023 NFL season. We hope to see you then.